Deep in the Sahara lies a 50-kilometer secret. It is a massive geological bullseye, visible only from space. For decades, mainstream science has called the Richat Structure a mere natural anomaly, an eroded dome of layered rock baked by the relentless African sun. But some researchers believe we have been looking at this entirely wrong. What if this perfectly circular formation isn't just a random geological quirk? What if it is the scarred remains of history's most famous lost empire? The ancient measurements are shockingly precise. The geographical clues align almost perfectly. Could a bustling ancient metropolis have thrived in the harshest desert on Earth? Are we staring at the legendary city of Atlantis? To understand this mystery, we have to travel back in time. Right now, the Sahara is an unforgiving ocean of scorching sand. Winds whip across jagged dunes in a hostile, barren wasteland. But it wasn't always this way. Around 11,000 years ago, this landscape was entirely different. Welcome to the African humid period. Imagine a lush, vibrant paradise. Vast freshwater lakes mirrored the sky. Deep rivers carved through emerald green valleys. Herds of hippos and grazing megafauna roamed freely across fertile plains. We know this because ancient humans painted these exact scenes. Deep inside Saharan caves, vivid rock art depicts a thriving aquatic world. People were swimming, fishing, and herding cattle where there is now only dust. It was an environment perfectly suited to support a massive, advanced civilization. But here is where it gets interesting. As the global climate violently shifted, the Green Sahara began to die. The rivers dried up and the lush vegetation withered away. Any civilization living here would have been swallowed by the encroaching sands. Could the legendary Atlantis have been one of these forgotten cultures? To find out, we have to examine the oldest source material we possess, and that points us directly to a Greek philosopher from 360 BC. Let's look at the facts. The story of Atlantis comes exclusively from two texts by Plato, the Timaeus and the Critias. Plato claimed the tale was handed down from Egyptian priests to a Greek statesman. According to these ancient scrolls, Atlantis was a marvel of engineering. It was built as a series of perfectly concentric circles, rings of flowing water alternating with rings of fertile land. Now, look at the Richat structure from above. It is a stunningly precise series of concentric rings. But the visual similarity is just the beginning. Plato was incredibly specific about the city's dimensions. He recorded that the outer ring of Atlantis measured exactly 127 stadia. A stadium is an ancient Greek unit of measurement. When we convert 127 stadia into modern metrics, it equals roughly 23.5 kilometers. Now, let's measure the outermost ring of the Richat structure. Its radius is exactly 23.5 kilometers. That is a match within a 2% margin of error. It is a staggering mathematical coincidence. Furthermore, geological surveys have found heavy salt deposits trapped between the Richat's layers. This evidence suggests that ocean waters once flooded this exact location. Plato also described mountains to the north that sheltered the city. Just north of the Richat, a towering mountain ridge still stands today. Could a natural formation mimic these ancient texts so flawlessly? Or did Plato's Egyptian sources describe a very real, very ancient place? How did this incredible story reach ancient Greece? We must trace the complex historical chain of transmission. The tale begins with a man named Solon. He was a highly respected Athenian statesman, lawmaker, and poet. Around 600 BC, Solon traveled to the ancient land of Egypt. He visited the great temple of Neith in the bustling city of Sais. Here, venerable Egyptian priests guarded ancient, sacred, and heavily guarded records. They told Solon of a mighty global power that existed 9,000 years earlier. A power destroyed in a single day and night of unimaginable misfortune. Solon meticulously translated these accounts into Greek. He passed them down through his esteemed family line. Generations later, the story finally reached the philosopher Plato. But here is the crucial detail that changes everything. The priests described a land rich in gold, copper, and iron. Mauritania, the modern home of the Richat Structure, is incredibly rich in these exact minerals. Even today, massive iron ore trains constantly cross this unforgiving desert. The priests also spoke of red, black, and white stones used for building. Look closely at the local geology surrounding the Richat. You will find an absolute abundance of red, black, and white sedimentary rocks.
It is another striking, almost impossible correlation. But wait, there is even more to this puzzle. Plato wrote that Atlantis had an abundance of elephants roaming its lands. We know from ancient Saharan rock art that elephants thrived here during the humid period. Every single piece of the puzzle seems to fit together perfectly. It genuinely feels like we have finally found the legendary lost city. The geographical and historical evidence feels absolutely overwhelming. But modern science demands rigorous, undeniable proof, and sometimes the truth is a bitter pill to swallow. In 2017, the Atlantis dream hit a massive, immovable roadblock. A specialized team of geologists conducted a comprehensive geophysical survey of the Richat Structure. They used highly advanced ground-penetrating radar to peer beneath the surface. They painstakingly analyzed core samples pulled from deep within the earth. The goal of the expedition was incredibly simple. Find the buried ruins of a lost metropolis. Find ancient foundations, primitive tools, or shattered human artifacts. But the final results were completely devastating for the Atlantis theory. Beneath the shifting Saharan sands, they found absolutely no evidence of human construction. There were no sunken stone pillars. There were no crushed palaces or grand temples. They found just solid, unyielding volcanic rock. The survey firmly concluded the Richat is an entirely natural formation. It is a deeply eroded, ancient geological dome. Magma pushed up from the Earth's mantle millions of years ago, but it never erupted through the crust. Instead, it slowly cooled, hardened, and eventually collapsed. Relentless wind and water carved out the softer rock layers over millennia. This slow erosion left behind the hard ridges we see today. The perfect circles are just concentric bands of highly resistant quartzite. Mother Nature, not an advanced human civilization, built this breathtaking masterpiece. The legendary city vanishes into the desert dust. The entire Atlantis hypothesis seems completely dead in the water. But hold on just a second. If the Richat Structure is just a natural geological dome, we face a massive paradox. Why does Plato's exact description match this natural formation so flawlessly? How could a Greek philosopher perfectly detail a geological anomaly thousands of miles away? A remote African location he had never even seen with his own eyes. This glaring contradiction brings us to a wildly fascinating new theory. What if the Richat wasn't Atlantis itself, but the direct inspiration for it? Some historical researchers call this the Muse theory. Imagine ancient human travelers crossing the Sahara during the lush, humid period. They stumble upon this massive, perfectly circular oasis in the wilderness, a natural geological wonder filled with freshwater lakes and abundant wildlife. To ancient, primitive eyes, it would have looked like a massive fortress built by the gods. These early explorers would have shared vivid stories of this incredible place around glowing campfires. Over thousands of years, these stories slowly morphed into epic myth. A naturally occurring paradise was wildly exaggerated into a high-tech, engineered metropolis. The indigenous Berber people of North Africa still maintain incredibly rich oral traditions. Their oldest tribal legends speak of ancient, powerful kingdoms entirely swallowed by the desert sands. Could these local nomadic myths have slowly migrated along trade routes to ancient Egypt? Did Egyptian priests record a heavily distorted memory of a real Saharan oasis? Solon heard the tale, translated it, and eventually passed it to Plato. In this illuminating light, the Richat Structure is not the literal city of Atlantis. It is the real-world Muse that birthed the legendary story. A unique geographical fingerprint that inspired humanity's greatest enduring myth. The Eye of the Sahara remains a breathtaking natural marvel. It constantly reminds us that our planet's true history is wilder than our wildest fictions. The truth is still out there, waiting to be unearthed beneath the endless dunes. This natural paradise became the foundation of history's greatest legend. These early nomadic tribes carried their stories across a rapidly changing ancient world. The vivid, awe-inspiring memories traveled across expanding deserts and vast, unforgiving oceans. Eventually, the incredible tale reached the sacred stone temples of ancient Egypt. There, powerful priests meticulously recorded the legend of a magnificent, concentric city. They wrote of a glorious, ringside utopia that vanished into the relentless dust. But as countless centuries passed, the literal truth slowly faded away.
A lush, natural, geological marvel was misunderstood as a man-made advanced metropolis. The mighty Eye of the Sahara isn't the physical wreckage of Atlantis. It is something far more profound, enduring, and beautifully tragic. It is the very ghost of the legend itself. It is the original, breathtaking inspiration that sparked humanity's wildest imagination. This staggering realization fundamentally changes how we must view ancient mythology. These epic tales are not merely bedtime stories or simple fictional fabrications. They are distorted, lingering echoes of our distant, forgotten human past. They are deep geographical truths hidden beneath thick layers of time and translation. The magnificent Richat Structure stands today as a monumental testament to human memory. A breathtaking 50-kilometer geological bullseye that captured the hearts of our earliest ancestors. It proves that the Earth itself is history's greatest, most patient storyteller. We just have to learn how to read its ancient, weathered language. So, where does this remarkable journey leave us in our search for the truth? The shifting sands of the Sahara still hold countless, deeply buried secrets. We are only just beginning to scratch the vast, dusty surface of human antiquity. Every new archaeological discovery forces us to completely rewrite the textbooks we once trusted. Our ancestors witnessed a world that we can barely even comprehend today. The question isn't whether Atlantis was real. The question is, what else did our ancestors see that we've forgotten? If you want to find out, you know where to find us. Hit that subscribe button and join our relentless global pursuit of hidden history. Because next time, we are leaving these scorching African dunes far behind. We are heading to the arid, high-altitude deserts of ancient South America. There, gigantic, intensely mysterious shapes are carved directly into the sun-baked earth. The enigmatic Nazca lines stretch for miles across a completely barren, rocky plateau. Massive spiders, soaring birds, and strange humanoids are etched into the dry dirt. Were they primitive astronomical calendars, sacred ritual pathways, or desperate messages for the gods? As we look back one last time at the mesmerizing Eye of the Sahara, we must wonder, are we finally seeing our true history, or are we just staring at another beautiful mirage?